So can you explain the landscape of nursing profession in Germany?
क्रिएट अ करियर इन जर्मनी एंड नॉट जस्ट फाइंड अनदर जॉब। और वहाँ पे जाने के बाद जैसे हमारा आधार कार्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है, वहाँ पे सिटी कार्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है। सो टर्न जनरली हेल्प्स दीज कैंडिडेट्स डू दिस रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑल्सो ऑन द फर्स्ट डे।
Hi Sagar.
Hi Tanishka.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So I think you just flew to Delhi.
I came yesterday. Then I was in Greater Noida yesterday. We had one event there. Then in the morning I was in Gurgaon, and now I'm here in CP. So it has been. I think I've covered all the three nodes of the NCR.
I agree. That is good actually. So did you like any interesting story?
I mean, I had good food.
Okay.
I can say that. So I had butter chicken yesterday. I had chole kulche in the morning. So food was fun.
It's like the best thing about Delhi. Everyone covers that part. Cool. So can you please introduce yourself, because we have been hearing a lot of questions across. So we wanted to understand what exactly do you handle at TERN?
Sure. So I lead the recruitment business, the German recruitment business for TERN.
Right.
Just to give you a bit of background, I have been working in the space of upward mobility for a good 9 years now. And what upward mobility means in simple terms is I'm helping middle of India find better jobs, right? That's been my work. At TERN, when I say that I take care of the DE recruitment business, it means that whenever a nurse thinks of going to Germany, right? Then the whole pathway involved, which is say counseling the nurse, making sure that she gets the right language training, making sure that she gets the right jobs being presented to her, then making sure that her documentation and the migration process happens smoothly, as well as once she lands there, making sure that she gets integrated well into the ecosystem, right? Because at TERN, we say that we are here to help you nurses create a career in Germany and not just find another job. So that's pretty much what we do.
That's a great goal actually for someone to, helping them end to end, I would say. So can you explain the landscape of nursing profession in Germany?
I mean, the numbers are very interesting, right? So if you look at the number of professionals that who work in Germany, so there are 1.6 million nurses who work in who are registered in Germany, 16 lakh. Out of them, 3% are retiring every year. So that's 50,000 nurses retiring every year.
Are you serious?
And then, so just think of it, right? In next 11 years, 1/3 of their working nursing population would retire. In around 16, 17 years, half of the nurses who are working right now would retire.
That's a huge number. I would say that's like a lot of people getting out of the workforce.
It's insane. It's insane. And if you look at the numbers in terms of the numbers of graduates or number of nurses who are graduating every year, so that number is around 37,000, right? So 37,000 workforce is added, around 50,000 is going out. And then it also has a unique problem that if you look at the median age of Germany, it's around 48 years. So they have more old people than young people.
Yeah.
And hence the number of people who are requiring long-term care, that is also increasing with each person.
So that's a huge opportunity.
So around 50,000 people get into the zone where they require a long-term care every year. So even for that, you need nurses, right? So if you look at this number that they have to replace 50,000 who are retiring every year, then there are another 12,000 which are required so that these long-term care are taken care of. So today the situation is such that 37,000 are graduating every year. And then from other countries, around 30,000 nurses are going to Germany just to fill in this gap. And out of which 6,000 are Indians, by the way, right? So it's very, very unique situation that exists in the country.
That's actually very inspirational to hear, because like that's a very modern problem to solve, and TERN is doing actively, doing that job to address this, right? So my question, like the next question would be like, can you tell us about the entire pathway and why is it important for any candidate to understand?
Okay, I'll answer the second question first, right? Why is it important for a candidate to understand? I think of it in two major points, right? So first of all, it is one of the most important decision of your life, right? So when I think of most important decisions of the life, first when you choose your profession, right? जब इन लोगों ने nursing choose किया होगा, वो शायद एक सबसे important decision था. Second, and who they'll get married to would be second most important decision of their life, right? And here you are pretty much uprooting yourself from the country, going around 9,000 kilometers away and settling in there, starting a new job. Whole of your family is going to get affected by it. So I just want all the nurses to be cognizant of this fact. ये बहुत बड़ा life change है, right?
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
That's one. Second thing is, इसमें time लगता है, right? So the amount of time that is required for you to become fully prepared to migrate to Germany would be around 1 year here in India, right? And after you migrate there also, for you to become registered nurse, it will take another 6 to 8 months. So लंबी journey है, right? And if you really, are you ready to commit, right? Are you really ready to commit these 2 years is the question that matters. Hence it is important.
Yeah.
And in terms of pathway, right? I mean, it's a 11-step process, right? 7 of them happen in India. I think we will go through it as we speak more. And 4 of them happen there. But it's a 11-step process which starts with you first registering on TERN platform. Then we counseling you. Then we'll come to all the steps.
Got it. I'm really excited to actually hear how does it work. So, this like very out of curiosity question, but what happens when a candidate actually approaches TERN? Like, how does it work?
Okay, so first of all, let me cover how candidates approach us, right? I mean, we have been working in this space for a while. So most of the candidates that go through the journey reach out to us either on our socials or our platform. So first of all, this is how they are reaching out to us, right? Everybody is excited. Everybody wants to know what is happening in this space. So काफी leads तो अभी inbound आ रही है.
Really should be.
And then once they reach out to us, the first thing that we do is our counseling team reaches out to them just to understand what they really want out of this opportunity, right? The questions like, क्यों जाना है Germany? What is the motivation behind wanting to go to Germany? Second is making them understand that how long this pathway is going to be, right? Because if I just speak about the steps required, so first, what would happen is we would want to understand your interest.
Yeah.
We would counsel you. Then we would start with your language journey, right? So language journey, Germany mein most of the people only speak German, right?
Yeah.
And hence it is very important for you to know the language really well. मैं सिर्फ सर्टिफिकेट की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, मैं कह रहा हूँ कि आपको लैंग्वेज बहुत अच्छे से आना ज़रूरी है अगर आपको वहाँ पे सेटल होना है तो. So second is this language training that we do. After that happens, or in the last stages of your language training, what we will start doing is we will start matching you to the jobs, right? So आपका experience कितना है, आपने आपकी clinicals कौन से sector में किए हैं, आपका area of specialization क्या है, ये सारे factors को consider करके हम आपको job opportunities provide करेंगे.
Understood.
उसमें भी ऐसे होगा कि we will give you option, right? आपको nurses को सारी information मिलेगी कि ये सारे ये employer है, यहाँ पे है, इस शहर में है. Would you be willing to do this job? Right? Do you want to go? The choice is always with the nurse, right? So they decide whether they want this opportunity or not. Then we start coaching, right? Then we start interview specific coaching for them. Interview happens, then their documentation starts. And while their documentation is going on, it's takes somewhere around 4 to 6 months because first of all, India में जो आपकी डिग्री है उसको रिकॉग्नाइज कर उसका बेसिकली रिकग्निशन ऑफिस में वो डिग्री रिकॉग्नाइज करवाने के लिए भेजनी होती है विच एक्चुअली हैपन्स मैनुअली. मतलब वो ऐसे देखते हैं कि आपने कौन से कोर्सेज पढ़े हैं, जर्मनी में आपको नर्स बनने के लिए कौन से कोर्सेज ज़रूरी है और फिर आपका यहाँ आने के बाद करिकुलम मैपिंग करते हैं वो, राइट? सो वो होता है और उसके बाद फिर वी जनरली डू अ बिहेवियरल और कल्चरल ट्रेनिंग बिफोर द नर्सेस गो टू जर्मनी, राइट? सो दैट इज़ वन मोर स्टेप. And then once, obviously, then is visa application, right? And then once they fly, the first week is very important, right? So we really help them understand what the job role is. Actually, someone from our team goes to pick them up from the airport.
That's so sweet.
Then the same person will also drop them at the place that they would live at, right?
Yeah.
और वहाँ पे जाने के बाद जैसे हमारा आधार कार्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है वहाँ पे सिटी कार्ड रजिस्ट्रेशन होता है. सो टर्न जनरली हेल्प्स दीज कैंडिडेट्स डू दिस रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑल्सो ऑन द फर्स्ट डे वंस दे गो देयर, राइट? सो this first week is taken care of, where we introduce the nurses to the city, to their employer, and after that, they have to start preparation for their recognition course, right?
Correct.
And then they give the recognition exam, and then they become a registered nurse. So your pathway itna lamba hai, right? But as I always say, that TERN would be that friend that would be there with you right from the day of counseling till the day you become registered nurse and beyond. So I think सबसे पहले ये जो मैंने अभी आपको एक्सप्लेन किया, ये होता है जब हमारी टीम काउंसिल करती है किसी को भी. Once we do that, we generally also look at the documentations, right? That कि जो नर्सिंग डिग्री आपने प्रोवाइड की है हमें, जो करिकुलम आप पढ़ के आए हो, so we generally do a first level check of the documentations of the nurse, and once all of this is met, and I think for us the softer aspects are more important, right? हम सच्ची में टाइम देते हैं नर्स को ये सोचने के लिए कि आपको सच्ची में इतना कमिट करना है क्या, ये आप सोच लीजिए, उसके बाद वापस आइए, and then only we register these I would say intent checked motivated candidates for our German language classes.
Understood. And that's actually very empathetic that you guys help them even when they like land in a entirely different country, because it is very, very overwhelming, and helping them throughout each and every process is extremely helpful, I would say. So my next question is, what eligibility factors do you guys check in the very beginning itself, like as you state, what kind of curriculum, but what kind of eligibility you primarily look forward?
Yeah, so generally, I mean, there are 3 courses of nursing that exist in India, right? So A&M, GNM and BSc nursing. And there is also post basic nursing, काफ़ी कम लोग करते हैं वो, लेकिन ये 3 प्राइमरी कोर्सेज तो है. सो जर्मनी में अगर जॉब करनी है आपको, तो आप GNM या फिर पोस्ट बेसिक नर्सिंग या BSc नर्सिंग अगर किया है आपने, तो आप एलिजिबल हो. अगर आपने A&M किया है, इवन आप लैंग्वेज सीख के जाते हो, तो भी आप नर्सिंग जॉब के लिए एलिजिबल नहीं हो, राइट? सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी डू दिस चेक, यार आपका जो हार्ड कोर रिक्वायरमेंट है ऑफ क्वालिफिकेशन वो मैच कर रहा है क्या. एंड देन आफ्टर दैट आई थिंक overall curriculum that Indian Nursing Council has given for India is so good, especially after the updates that have happened in 2021. तो हमारा curriculum is one of the best in the world. तो जब भी रिकॉग्निशन के लिए हमारी डिग्रीज आती है, कभी भी हमें फीडबैक ऐसा नहीं आता कि इतने कोर्सेस आपके बच्चों को एक्स्ट्रा आके पढ़ने होंगे. तो आई थिंक बेसिक चेक यही ज़रूरी है कि A&M की डिग्री तो नहीं है ना, एंड देन वी डू मोर चेक्स ऑन द सॉफ्टवेयर एस्पेक्ट्स देन दैट ऑफ द हार्डर ones.
Understood. Can you elaborate on the softer aspects, so to say?
The couple of things that I mentioned, right? First of all, I really want to understand the motivation, and I really want to understand the intent, right? Because it's a long journey. It is a lot of steps. It is going to require a lot of effort. So are people ready for it?
So the whole willingness and how the mindset is makes sense. So how is German language training structured at term? Especially from A1 to B2, like how does it work?
I mean, हमारा एवोल्यूशन भी काफ़ी हुआ है इस पे पिछले 2 सालों में, राइट? हमने जब शुरुआत किया था तब हम ऑफलाइन कोर्सेज भी कर रहे थे, ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज भी कर रहे थे. हम काफ़ी ऑनलाइन कोर्सेज डोमिनेंट थे, बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम हमने रियलाइज़ किया कि एक नर्स जो मल्टीपल शिफ्ट में काम कर रही है, सो इंडिया में नर्सिंग की जो जॉब है उसमें आपको 2 से 3 दिन से ज़्यादा स्टेबिलिटी नहीं होती है कि आप किस शिफ्ट में काम करोगे. आपकी शिफ्ट रोटेट होती रहती है. सेकेंड थिंग दैट हैपन्स इज देयर इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट कॉल्ड एज डबल शिफ्ट. नर्स बैक टू बैक 2 शिफ्ट करती है, 12 घंटे की शिफ्ट करती है. उसके बाद आके नई लैंग्वेज सीखने का एनर्जी मोटिवेशन बहुत कम हो जाता है. सो व्हाट वी हैव अंडरस्टूड थ्रू आवर ऑनलाइन, और ऑनलाइन में हमारे मोस्ट ऑफ द नर्सेज जो आ रहे थे वो काम के साथ ये करना चाह रहे थे. But after I would say around 16 months of our learning, we have realized is online is not the mode to go. So most of our training that happens for nurses is happening offline right now. So when you learn German, so German की 4 levels होती है. You start from A1. So there are 4 levels. One is A1, second is A2, then is B1, and then is B2. Each of this level, we do somewhere around 180 hours of classroom training, और उसके साथ होमवर्क भी काफ़ी होता है. A1 A2 में 180 घंटे के क्लासरूम्स होते हैं. B1 B2 में अराउंड 200 hours of classrooms happen.
Correct.
And the classrooms are, I would say, very, very student-led, very, very conversational, because आप language सीख रहे हो, मतलब इसमें कोई concept नहीं पढ़ा रहे हो आप, right? Most of the language would happen via conversation, जैसे अब हम अभी कर रहे हैं, right? तो आप अगर जाके क्लासेस देखोगे तो काफ़ी फन क्लासेस आपको दिखेंगे कि बच्चे दो दो तीन तीन का ग्रुप करके नई लैंग्वेज सीखने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. इट्स आई वुड से हमें वो प्रोग्रेस देखने में भी बहुत मज़ा आता है. जब हम A1 में शुरू करते हैं तब वो पूरे सेंटेंस में 2 या 3 शब्द कहीं से जुगाड़ करके डाल देते हैं जर्मन. And by the time they come to B2, they are well grammatically correct structured sentences बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे होते हैं, या वो लास्ट 15-20 घंटे ऑफ B2 में होते हैं. तो जैसे मैं कह रहा था कि हर एक लेवल पे हम लोग 180 से 200 घंटे की क्लासरूम ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, जो कि काफ़ी अलग तरह की होती है. Second thing that we do is there are a lot of checks. So each of these levels have in general 12 chapters, right?
Understood. Okay.
तो हर एक चैप्टर एक कॉन्सेप्ट है. तो हर एक कॉन्सेप्ट के बाद वो कॉन्सेप्ट का टेस्टिंग करते हैं हम लोग, राइट? सो दैट you don't, or rather you get used to also the text testing mechanism, right? तो ये है, I mean, this is how we have structured in terms of, this was structure of the program. So if I talk about the trainers, so all the trainers that exist are C1 qualified, right? So मैं I think कह रहा था कि 4 levels होते हैं. तो 4 levels होते हैं, आपको bare minimum जर्मन बात करना सीखना है तो.
Correct.
उसके बाद भी 2 level होते हैं, which are so called supremacy levels, right? C1, C2. So हमारे जितने भी trainers हैं वो at least C1 qualified है, उनको लगभग 5 साल का एक्सपीरियंस होगा. और हमारे साथ अभी जितने भी ट्रेनर्स काम कर रहे हैं वो लगभग 2 साल से हमारे साथ काम कर रहे हैं. सो दे एग्जैक्टली हैव बीन, आई वुड से, ट्रेनिंग दिस पर्टिकुलर यूजर ग्रुप विच इज नर्सेस इन जर्मन लैंग्वेज ट्रेनिंग फॉर लास्ट गुड 2 years. सो या ब्रॉडली ऐसे स्ट्रक्चर है, काफ़ी मज़ा आता है. मतलब मैं जब भी बैंगलोर में होता हूँ या फिर मैं जब भी दिल्ली में आता हूँ, मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि किसी ना किसी क्लास में जाऊँ, बिकॉज इट्स वेरी, आई वुड से, हाईली एनर्जेटिक एनवायरनमेंट जहाँ पे बैठे में बहुत मज़ा आता है. यू शुड ऑल्सो गो इट सम डे.
I would love to try that out. All right. So you previously you mentioned that now TERN is switching up to an offline model entirely, right? So do you have any language centers, maybe pan India or anywhere specific?
Yeah. So there are 2 models in which we operate, right? So one is where TERN does everything end to end, right?
Yeah.
Right from the recruitment of the students to making sure that they're trained well enough, to making sure that they get jobs, etc. So one is a TERN driven model, and second is a partnership model, right? So where the know-how of language is something which is taken care by TERN.
Okay.
So we have our language centers right now in Bangalore. So we have one in JP Nagar, we have one in Yelahanka, then in NCR we have one in Greater Noida. So we have a few in Kalkaji, then we have a few in Gurgaon also. We have one in Pune also, and I think Mumbai we are starting in March. So right now we have covered at least 4 important cities when it comes to the German language learning scene in India.
That's so nice. That's so actually like it will of course increase the accessibility and people will be more aware about the whole offering. I was also very curious on how does the employer matching works for you? Like if an employer comes in, how does it work for them too?
Okay, so let me just explain it to you from both the lenses, right?
Yeah.
Of an employer as well as
employer.
from a candidate's lens, right? So from an employer point of view, they're quite clear, right? So they have a particular gap in their hospital or maybe a old age care home which they want to fill. So they come to us with a very, very specific requirement on, I would say 2 to 3 things. So one is German language capability, because the more you are in rural Germany, the better hold on the language you need to have. Because शहर में फिर भी थोड़ा इंग्लिश चल जाए, right? But if you go to the rural Germany, German is your only go to I would say language, right? So it depends upon what is the location, and hence they generally speak about the German language level requirement.
Right.
Second, they talk about area of expertise in which the nurse should have her experience in. ये हॉस्पिटल्स में काफ़ी क्रिटिकल हो जाता है, जैसे कि किसी का ICU डोमिनेंट रिक्वायरमेंट है, इन टर्म्स ऑफ दैट इज़ वेयर दे नीड मोर पीपल. then they generally want to hire from there, right? So second is this area of experience, area of expertise, and then they generally also have a preference in terms of
So I'm very curious on how does documentation works, because like that's the one of the most stressful aspect for anyone to even think about, like to migrate from one place to another entirely, right? And especially when it comes to career, it becomes even more critical. How does it work, and if TERN actually helps, or like how do they process the whole requirement?
Got it. So first of all, let me just make it very, very simple, right? Let me explain in a layman term कि क्या documentation चाहिए और क्यों चाहिए. So the first step that happens is when you're migrating as a nurse to Germany, they first of all want to understand कि आपने जो पढ़ाई की है वो पढ़ाई जर्मनी के लिए वैलिड है या नहीं. इसलिए the first thing that the I would say recognition authority of any German state would want you to send is your nursing curriculum transcript जिसे कहते हैं हम लोग. Second is mark sheet कि how well did you really do in those courses. Third is your nursing council registration certificate, right? कि आप registered nurse हो भी आपके country में या नहीं. And then the third is degree. Fourth is degree. Right? So ये चार चीजें चाहिए होती है.
So Saga, there's a lot of confusion happens, especially in documentation, right? For anyone to even consider to migrate, they tend to feel extremely overwhelmed. What is the documentation? Why is it required? Just tell us the whole process.
Okay, जो recognition course है, right? उसमें क्या पढ़ना है, इसका subtraction निकालते हैं. In a very, very simple term, कि आपको यहाँ पे जॉब करने के लिए ये चीज़ें आनी चाहिए, and it's a combination of both theory as well as practical knowledge. आपने ये पढ़ा है आपके देश में, तो एक नोट आती है. I think this is one of the most used terms. Google भी करोगे, German jobs तो मिल जाएगी. Deficit Bescheid, right? Which basically is nothing but a note which talks about आपको अगर destination country में अगर आपकी डिग्री रिकॉग्नाइज करवानी है, तो आपको कितने घंटे की और पढ़ाई both in terms of practical as well as theory करनी चाहिए. So one is this documentation, right? Then the second documentation that happens during the pre-approval of visa, right? So आपको recognition का deficit note मिल गया कि इतना आपको वहाँ पे आके पढ़ना है. Then what happens is when you're applying for pre-approval of visa, the school that is going to take care of your learning once you reach there gives a learning plan.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Individual learning plan by a student, okay? So there is a learning for every student.
Wow, okay.
So the learning plan as well as this deficit note goes into what is called as a foreigner's office, and then you are given pre-approval. So one of the most interesting thing about nursing as a profession is कि जब वो वीज़ा अप्लाई करने जाते हैं या फिर वीज़ा इंटरव्यू देने जाते हैं, दो कोर डॉक्यूमेंट्स की ज़रूरत पड़ती है. वन इज़ दिस प्री अप्रूवल ऑफ वीज़ा, एंड सेकेंड इज़ योर लैंग्वेज सर्टिफिकेट कि आप जाके भाषा बोल सकते हो, राइट? सो एवरीथिंग हैपन्स बिफोर इवन यू गो टू द वीज़ा ऑफिस. हेंस I would say a lot of documents are collected from the candidates, but these are the reasons for which.
Got it. And can you also tell me, like, how does TERN actually come into the picture, and how do they help in the whole documentation process?
So I think for the candidates that migrate or that take TERN's help, broadly everything is done by TERN. So the candidate would give the documents to us. We will make sure that they are translated in Germany. We will make sure that they are submitted to the recognition office. Once the recognition, if there is any additional document required, the communication from the recognition office to the candidate again will be taken care by TERN. And then even the Weiterbildungsplan, right? So we will make sure that your employer submits the right Weiterbildungsplan, and all of this together is submitted to the foreigner's office also by TERN. So if you think of it, for a candidate, for a nurse, TERN takes care of each and every step of the documentation. The only thing that you have to do is submit, trust, and sit back.
That's so nice, actually, because there's so much, of course, stress and anxiety that must be, going around. And since TERN is taking care of each and every step, and the guidance and support is so better, I would say. it definitely builds a lot more confidence for any person to easily migrate into an entirely different country. So that's very, very nice. My next question is like visa is one of the most stressful stage, right? How does TERN handles that?
So again, right, I mean, as I was explaining in the last question that you had asked, I would say visa for nursing profession is one of the easiest visas to get if you really have all your documents into place.
That's
right?
such a good news, honestly.
Yeah, because by the time you go, I mean, the number of visa applications that we have done till now would be to the tune of, I would say, 2000 plus, and there have been zero rejections. There have been zero rejections that have happened till now, and exactly for the reason that I said, right? Ki you would get a pre-approval form from the German foreigners office of the city that you're going to, which you will be taking along with you, saying that यार ये बुला रहे हैं मुझे इस job के लिए बुला रहे हैं, and I have the letter from them that they want me to go there. That's one. And second, once you have your language certificates, once you submit these two, it takes somewhere around 2 to 5 weeks itself for you to get your visa, depending upon the, I would say, load at the embassy. But I've seen zero rejections. I've seen the time not go beyond 4.5 weeks.
Awesome. That's super amazing for anyone to, go through the whole visa. I think it sounds very easy, and I would say very
It is quite easy, right? I mean, I always say to the candidates that if you learn this language well enough, the steps involved might take a lot of time, but I haven't seen anybody drop out in the process or any of the exception coming in which stops you from moving, especially because of any documents.
Understood. That's wonderful. I have one very important question, right? When it comes to overall like migration or any jobs outside the country, right? We have been hearing a lot of scams as well. So how does one not feel so demotivated, discouraged, and actually not being confused? Like, what are the maybe some processes or some very, like a do's and don'ts that you would like to suggest?
First of all, thank you. Thank you so much for asking this question, right? I mean, whenever I also used to think about a job in a nation which is beyond India, I always have heard about people paying money,
Right.
a few of them getting scammed for the money that they have paid. So let me just break it down as much as I can.
Sure, that works.
The first thing that a candidate should do is ask the person, agency, platform that they are working with, that are they authorized by government of India with a recruitment license to even make this happen. So there is a license called as RA license, which is given by government of India, which allows you to help people migrate for job.
Got it.
So सबसे पहला स्कैम तो यही पे होता है कि काफ़ी लोग जिनके पास RA लाइसेंस नहीं है, उनके पास कैंडिडेट्स अपने डॉक्यूमेंट्स या वो केस वर्ड यूज करते हैं, अपना केस सबमिट करते हैं, एंड देन दे जस्ट गो इन सर्कल्स. By the definition of RA license, or one of the notes in the terms and conditions of RA license is the company cannot charge candidate more than 30,000 rupees for a job. ये लिखा हुआ है. सो अगर कोई RA लाइसेंस कंपनी आपसे 30,000 से ज़्यादा रुपए ले रही है, यू हैव राइट टू फाइल अ केस अगेंस्ट देम सेइंग ये अलाउड नहीं है, राइट? आई थिंक मुझे तो ऐसे लगता है कि most of the scams are happening just because of information asymmetry. लोगों को पता ही नहीं है.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? So first of all, आपको ये पता लगाना है कि जिस भी कंपनी, प्लेटफॉर्म या एजेंसी या पर्सन के साथ आप काम कर रहे हो, वो ऑथराइज्ड भी है या नहीं है करने के लिए. Then the second thing that you should make sure of, right, is you should have a direct connect with the employer. You have to make sure that you have given a direct interview. You have to make sure that you have received the right offer letter or a working contract from the employer, and you have to validate it, right? So that's the second important thing for you to do. That कि यार जो मेरे पास ऑफर लेटर है उस टाइम की कंपनी एग्जिस्ट भी करती है क्या, या ये कुछ और ही है. ऐसे भी स्कैम्स हुए हैं, राइट, वेयर पीपल हैव बीन गिवन फॉल्स ऑफर लेटर्स एंड बीइंग सेट, राइट? सो one, I think research as much as you can
About
Why
a
not?
particular company.
about that particular company that you have gotten the job in. That's the second important step for you to do, right? And always trusting a platform which has scale, right? I mean, as I was saying that from India, maybe 2,000 odd nurses would have flown with TERN's help in the last, I would say, couple of years or so. So trust a brand which has been existing in the market for a while, because this is your life that you're trusting them with, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, these are the broad, I think, 2 or 3 things that you need to take care of as a candidate to make sure that you don't have any ill experience when it comes to
I'm so
marriage.
sure like these particular pointers are so much helpful for every nurse who will be possibly, hearing out this podcast and seeing this forward too. So I also wanted to understand on how the examination process works, right? And eventually like what kind of certificates one can expect after that particular examination.
Okay. So I'll just try and explain it to you in detail. So first of all, there are 3 different examination bodies which are allowed to test for the German language skills of candidates. First is TELC, second is Goethe, and third is OST. Broadly, the exam structure of all these, I would say, examination bodies is similar. They test for listening, speaking, reading, writing, as well as grammar, right? So each of these examination bodies have these 5 components in different forms. Once you have qualified B2 from TERN, you'll also do multiple internal examinations that would happen, and then after that you would be giving the examination.
Right.
So you get one of these certificates, and then this is the document which is required for you for your visa interview. So that's around examination, and that's around the certifications required.
Got it. And what do you think about coaching? Like, how does the coaching process work? Since you clearly mentioned that TERN do provide, German language training, then how does the training works? And I'm assuming like one needs to be extremely conversational. So eventually, like, how do they become conversational?
Okay, so that's an interesting point, right? I mean, just to go back to the examination point that we were discussing, right? So by doing all of these things, right, by having a rigor around the mock tests during your learning journey, after your learning journey, you can solve for the certificate, right, by practicing enough. But that is not enough for you to survive or rather thrive in Germany. Because as I said, right, I mean, what these certifications allow you to do is bare minimum is done.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you can conversationally speak that language well enough, right? So a lot of work that happens during the coaching as well as during the time when the candidate is learning the language is around making sure that they are conversationally ready. What does that mean? So when the candidate is going through their A1 to B2 journey, we have a AI product,
Right.
to which the candidates speak to. I mean, so yeah, I mean, and the data that I look at, right, it's so amazing. And even the progression that I see with the candidates, and this product is built where at each of the candidates level, right? So if the candidate is at A1 level,
Right.
the conversation that happens with this AI, we call her Sophie, happens at A1 level, right?
Nice.
So it gives feedback to the candidates, it has the conversation, then it also has a report which gets created, which talks about how did you do today, and kids are getting hooked to it, right? I see few of them using it for somewhere around 57 minutes a day, 59 minutes a day. There are a few which are using 30-35 minutes a day. So first of all, we are making conversation part of the language learning journey itself, right? So our classrooms look different, that's one. But we are also trying to use technology to make sure that this side is kind of built upon, right?
Right.
So coaching happens by 2 modes, right? First of all, we have a set of experts who have been helping candidates with coaching for job interviews for good 5-7 years. And then the second coaching or rather practice of interviews happens via our AI platform.
Right.
So we have a platform on which the candidate goes in. It's pretty much like a Zoom call kind of setup, which happens on our platform. You go, there is an interviewer, a German interviewer sitting there in the form of an AI avatar who interviews you. And after each and every interview, you get a score, right? So all the candidates go through these multiple AI interviews, coaching sessions before they appear for the final interview, right? So we are using both, right? We're using the technology that we have built in-house, as well as the expertise of the coaches that we have to make sure that the candidates are trained well enough before they actually face the final interview.
That sounds like more like having a personal pal with themselves, like a German pal who would actively, just practice with you constantly and like making you definitely like helping you to improve.
I mean, yeah, it does, right? I mean, as I was saying that we really want to be a companion, a friend for a nurse who's thinking of this dream and help her through each and every step, right? And now I think
You guys are reaching there.
the AI pals that we are creating for each of these steps are also helping us scale our impact, right? Because one coach can maybe coach somewhere around 5, 7, 10 people at a time.
Right.
But our AI coach is able to coach hundreds of candidates at their own convenience. You don't have to block time.
Definitely.
You just have to start, click on the link, and you can start practicing. So that's fascinating. That's interesting. And there's a lot of fun.
So, Sagar, now that we are ending this particular podcast, I wanted to understand like anything that you want to directly share to the candidates. Any words?
I mean, it's simple, right? If you really have this dream of working in Germany, please reach out to us. We will make sure that your experience of, I would say, decision making, your experience of language learning, your experience of job application, your experience of documentation, your experience of migration, as well as your experience of integration. We will make sure that all of these experiences are happy experiences. So yeah, reach out to us. You can comment if you want, and the team will get back to you. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.